kasama along with your favorite schoolmates barkada. Pero, nandito tayo ngayon sa, drumroll please. Ayan, Francisco P. Felix Memorial National High School! Siyempre guys, ang energy nila, no, very excited, and energetic sila ngayon. Pang tatlong building ang energy nila, pero siyempre hindi namin kayo iiwan. Mga live audience natin and of course ang ating mga netizens na pag-usapan ang mahalagang issue ng ating bayan. Kaya naman, huwag kayong bibitiw dito lang sa Schoolmates!
Isigaw ang tinig mo, ihayag sa buong mundo ang karapatan, kalayaan. Buksan ang isip mo, kaalaman ang yaman mo sa karapatan, sa kalayaan.
Isang magandang araw muli sa inyo. Nandito pa rin tayo sa Francisco P. Felix Memorial National High School. And kita nyo naman sa palakpak ng ating mga Felicians, I'm sure excited na ang ating live audience din ngayon para simulan ang ating debate kung saan ang pag-uusapan ng ating schoolmates ay tungkol sa paglalagay ng mental health subjects sa high school curriculum. Marami ang may gustong maisaling araw ang paksa ng mental health sa aralin ng high school because this will help them spread knowledge and awareness concerning this topic and therefore, minimizing yung stigma ng araw ukol dito. Dahil na rin ito sa tumataas na bilang ng mga estudyanteng nagkakaroon ng mental health concerns. Pero, meron din namang nag-aalangan sa paglalagay nga ng mental health subject sa high school curriculum. At ang isa sa pinaka-concerning daw dito ay kung may sapat nga daw bang karunungan ang mga magtuturo sa nasabing asignatura. Kaya naman ngayon, schoolmates, atin namang pakikinggan ang say ng mga schoolmates debater na makakasama natin ngayon para sa unang grupong naniniwalang dapat maglagay ng mental health subjects sa high school curriculum. Nandito sina Francine, Janina, and Althea.
Mental health issues have been around us ever since, and a lot of us experience it in our daily basis until now. And it is normal for us to have the certain need to be heard by someone who is really open, who is available to hear out about our sides despite the differences of our situation. And way back then, mental health wasn't as recognized compared to how it is now because it is evident naman po, di ba? And with that, it has given a broad impact sa buhay ng bawat isa. It has given us an impact and iniisip natin na it was considered to be an abnormality in a person kapag may mental health issues ka or mental health issue ka. And due to the pandemic, the number of teenagers who experienced mental health issues, commonly depression and anxiety, have risen significantly. And if we implement this curriculum, we will not only be understanding what is going on with ourselves, but also find ways on how we can support our peers, our loved ones, the people around us who are going through the same situation as us.
Maraming salamat sa ating unang grupo at syempre narito naman ang ikalawang grupo na sumasalungat sa paglalagay ng mental health subjects sa high school curriculum. Let us all welcome Francis, Hannah, and Rainer.
So mental health is a crucial aspect that significantly affects our overall well-being. It affects how we think, how we feel, how we act, and it helps us build our ability to cope with stress, build positive relationships, and achieve success. Mental health plays a vital role in several ways. Our psychological well-being, our physical health, our academic performance, and our relationships with others, and other behavioral habits that we do every day. Mental health shouldn't be should be addressed properly, but not just be aware or informed what you're going through or be aware of your problems, what you go through, your struggles, but you should also address them properly for them to not worsen and to take take care of your mental health and have a good mental health.
Ayan, at napakinggan na natin ang pambungad ng magkabilang panig and they have both delivered their initial points. Pero schoolmates, hindi lang sila ang may opinion sa ating topic ngayon dahil kasama rin natin ang mga schoolmates nating Felicians dito sa Francisco P. Felix Memorial National High School. Sila ay may pagkakataon ding magbigay ng kanilang sariling opinion o kaya ay magtanong sa ating mga debaters, kaya naman abangan niyo yan maya-maya lamang. Maaari rin po kayo makisali sa aming diskusyon ngayon sa ating mga netizens. Kaya naman pong i-like at i-follow lamang ang aming social media pages at Iskoolmates, as you can see on your screen, at magpadala lamang po kayo ng inyong mga komento. Bukod dyan, schoolmates, mamaya meron din tayong pipiliin gamit ng ating mga schoolmate staff and of course, ang ilan sa ating mga live audience na best speaker mula sa ating mga debaters. Kaya naman guys, ready na ang ating mga debaters sa aming pagbabalik? Ating alamin ang masasabi ng bawat miyembro tungkol sa ating usapin dito lang sa Schoolmates! Welcome back, schoolmates! At yan, di ba kanina narinig natin ang opening statements ng bawat team tungkol sa ating paksa ngayon kung dapat or hindi ba dapat isali sa high school curriculum ang mental health subject. O, di ba? Interesting. Ngayon naman, maririnig natin ang iba pang punto ng magkabilang grupo mula naman sa kanilang mga team members. Okay, let's start. Marquine, take it away.
So based on mindful health solutions and innovative health services, 8.4% of students aging 6 to 17 years old experience depression and anxiety in their lifetimes. Meaning to say, if we add this subject to our curriculum, a lot of students will benefit from this.
Alright, maraming salamat, Marquine. Mula naman sa kabilang grupo, Rainer.
But we also have to consider the thought of introducing mental health in our curriculum may inadvertently cause stress for some students who may be pressured to conform to certain expectations or maybe share their emotions, especially in a stressful environment such as classrooms.
Maraming salamat, Rainer. And now, what do you have to say to this, Janina?
Okay, so adding this to our curriculum would be very beneficial for the students since it is only possible to seek help from a professional when their parents are woke or actually woke about the topic mental health.
Alright, maraming salamat, Janina. Napaka-short at sweet na mga points ng ating debaters. And last but not the least, Hannah.
There is no definitive study proving that adding a mental health subject in our curriculum, in the curriculum of education of Filipino youth, would improve the mental well-being of us learners. And in addition to that, merong risk sa pagtuturo ng ganitong uri ng subject kasi it is a very personal and sensitive matter to be talked to in a stressful environment such as classrooms. There's a risk sa pagtuturo nito, sa paglalagay nito kasi if mali yung approach mo sa bata, it may only worsen his or her mental state.
Alright, maraming salamat sa ating mga membro ng magkabilang grupo. At syempre guys, unang parte pa lamang yan ng ating talakayan. Ano naman kaya ang magiging reaksyon dito ng ating mga Felicians? Alright? Guys, ready your emojis. Dapat ba or hindi dapat isali sa ating curriculum ang mental health? Thank you so much guys, no. I'm sure marami pa kayong gustong marinig from ating mga debaters regarding this topic. Thank you so much for that very engaging at syempre naging discussion din natin tong part na to pero marami pa tayong mga katanungan na dapat masagot about this topic. Kaya naman patuloy lamang kayong tumutok dahil magbabalik pa ang Schoolmates! Alright, nagbabalik tayo guys. Kasama pa rin natin ang Felicians para sa ating free flow flow discussion. Ayan, kung saan magbibigay lamang kami ng ilang katanungan sa ating mga debaters at hahayaan namin kayong magsagutan. Again, wala tayong sinasabing tama or mali. Kumbaga, ang ating programa ay nagdanais lamang na paliwanag at mas mapalawig pa ang ating kaalaman gamit ang opinyon ng mga kabataan hinggil sa ating social issues. At dahil dyan, narito na ang unang katanungan. Isa sa mga kine-question tungkol sa usaping ito ay ang pagkakaroon ng sapat na kaalaman ng ating mga guro o yung mga magtuturo ng ating mental health subject. So who do you think is qualified to teach the subject?
Hindi naman po talaga mental health yung field of study ng ating mga professional teachers. Although we have our respect towards teachers, towards sa kung anong subject ang tinuturo nila, we can ask for help from those professionals talaga na kabilang sa field ng emotional health, emotional intelligence sa subject na ito, such as professional psychiatrists and psychologists na makakapag-orient sa mga teachers. In that way, they will be enlightened about the situations or the emotions or the circumstances na madalas nararamdaman ng mga teenagers around our age.
I think all teachers are qualified to teach for the mental health subject, but I do not think that they should switch their field of expertise from their original field of expertise to mental health. There are psychologists that are experts in this field of expertise. They should not switch from one subject to another, as it would add stress to them. And if we are going to address the risk of the mental health of the youth, we might be putting the risk of the mental health of the teachers as well. I don't think it is a good trade-off to risk the mental health of the teachers just to save the youth, as all mental health of all individuals should matter and none should be put at risk.
Hindi naman namin na sinasabing dapat mag-switch yung mga teachers ng expertise. Okay? Ano pang silbi ng mga seminar para hindi nila attenan, di ba? Kaya nga tayo may mga seminar. Sinasabi mo na dapat ibigay na lang natin yung tungkulin na yun sa mga psychiatrists. Alam mo ba na 5 lang yung mga wards na available for child and 60 psychiatrists lang yung are practicing para sa mental health ng mga kaedad natin? Ibig sabihin, sa tingin mo ba, kaya ba nilang i-cater yung pangangailangan natin mga students? Kaya ba nila tayong i-assist to figure out what we really feel sa ganun kaunting psychiatrist?
Let's just look at it this way. The increased diversity of pupils' mental health needs can guarantee further pressures also on teachers who may feel equipped to cope effectively. So if school teachers are to conceive of their role as one that begins with the notion of what it is to be a whole person and education as the development of the person, then teachers should also be will also require the help of mental health specialists. So with that, we can now insert the saying, you cannot give what you don't have. If teachers are unable to address their own mental health issues, and they will be also needing the help of mental health specialists, then how could they possibly handle the mental health issues of their children?
Okay. So, actually, very valid points yung sinasabi natin dito, no? Siguro segundahan ko na lang ng follow-up question. Nasa usapin tayo sa who is qualified to teach the subject of mental health. So, kayo, ang sinasabi nyo is that meron tayong mga professionals. And at the same time, kulang din yung mga professionals na maaaring mag-exercise nito. Kaya naman sinasabi nyo, bakit teachers ang kailangan magturo nito kung hindi sila well-equipped to handle their own? How can they kumbaga take on the burden pa of the mental health din ng kanilang mga estudyante? Siguro, let's state it in the fact na talagang ituturo na ang mental health subject sa mga paaralan. How should we address the concerns ng employment and yung fees on charging, for example, pag nag-employ tayo ng expert, ng psychiatrist or psychologist, how should schools address this concern? Dapat ba they should be giving more? How should they be compensating them? And at the same time, sa mga nagsasabing hindi dapat teachers ang natuturo or maaaring dapat nga teachers nga daw ang magturo nito, how should teachers be compensated naman?
Since they're the one who's gonna teach the mental health, things about mental health, I think that it could be a win-win situation since they're teaching, so they're also learning about mental health, and their mental health is also being stable and being talked about. So for me, it's just a win-win situation between the students and the teachers.
Teachers or the experts should have a higher compensation as the psychologists, according to Inquirer.net, there are only one practicing licensed psychologist for every 125,000 Filipino. So if we're going to compensate them, because there are a lot of students enrolled this school year, there are exactly about 26 million for this school year, I think they should have a higher compensation as there are only limited psychologists and there are a lot of students with diverse needs, difficult problems, especially to those that are experiencing a lot worse for their mental health. Students should have their problem should be addressed properly, and I think if it is going to be compensated in a high price or a high cost, I think it would be better for a therapy or a session with a psychologist rather than at school, because the materials or the cost funds needed to provide for an expert would be costly for the school, especially for those that have a low budget. There are private and public schools that have separate budgets for their own schools, as others require a higher tuition and others require a low tuition. I think it will depend on the school if they will pay a high price depending on the problems of the students and the student count of the school.
Alright, so valid points yung ni-raise yung dalawa. So keep that in mind kasi eto naman yung second question natin. So sa mga nabanggit nyo kanina na it could either be an expert or a teacher himself to actually teach the subject, sinasabi natin na mental health is a personal matter. So, kanya-kanya may iba-ibang experience, iba-ibang emotions, iba-ibang circumstances na pinagdadaanan. How can we ensure na yung mga teachers natin will be able to deliver the subject matter with proper sensitivity and care? Kasi kayo nga nagsabi na they may be employed at a higher price or they may not be employed at a higher price, depende sa budget ng ating mga eskwelahan. Tingin nyo, how can they deliver with that role, with enough sensitivity and care when they talk about it in the classrooms?
Teachers will be able to deliver this subject with enough sensitivity and care kapag nabigyan sila ng enough attention and time to fully prepare themselves personally sa subject na ibibigay sa kanila if ever man na ma-implement ang curriculum na to. And just like what Janina have said earlier, it is a win-win situation kasi nga our teachers are already adults. They have more life experiences compared to us teenagers, adolescents, high school students. And in that way, matututunan din ng mga teacher kung paano i-handle yung kanilang emotions, yung kanilang way of thinking kapag may specific situation silang i-face in life. And in that way, may i-apply din nila yon, may i-advise din nila yon sa mga students na makakapag-face din nun once na lumaki na sila.
I do agree with you that teachers would be able to deliver it with a sensitive matter, but how can you compress 4 to 6 years of knowledge and experience in psychology within months or years of preparation? Let's say you take years of preparation, the time and the cost of it is inversely proportional. As the time takes longer, the cost also increases. We are not sure if our country can fund that, especially with a lot of schools, a lot of teachers, and limited experts in the field of psychology. We do not know how long it would take and how much we can spend or how much it would cost our country for it to be developed into the curriculum.
Worth it naman siguro kung matatagalan yung pag-prepare natin para sa subject na to. Kasi nga, malaking tulong din to sa mental health natin. Sabi nga nila, di ba, hindi natin ma-expect na ang estudyante ay maging honor student sa school kung yung mental health pa lang nila ay sira na. Kasi makakatulong talaga siya. Hindi lang ngayon na estudyante tayo, kundi makakatulong din siya i-mold tayo to be a better person in the future.
Mental health subject in our curriculum won't be able to cater all of our students due to individual differences. And it's not going to be beneficial for everyone because it's not easily accessible from other parts of our country. How about the underserved or remote areas on our country? Their schools don't have enough fundings to compensate for the professionals that would be facilitating the mental health subject in our community, in our curriculum.
If we
Okay.
propose this curriculum to the government in education, hindi naman talaga natin nire-request na talagang sige, implement na natin yung curriculum sa lahat ng school sa buong bansa, sa buong Pilipinas. We are taking things step by step. And ayun nga, as what you've mentioned earlier, your concern about the remote areas, of course, we have seen different circumstances katulad ng poverty. And pagdating sa poverty, it can cause them mental stress. It can cause them emotional stress as well. So that is one thing, that is one of the biggest things that we need to work on. Kaya nga, we will start off with small steps para ma-reach natin yung mga areas na talagang mas may nangangailangan pa.
If may implement nga natin itong subject na to, paano naman how can you be so sure that this will be beneficial for all the students who is facing mental health struggles? For example, yung isang bata na yon, ayaw niyang mag-open up about sa pinagdadaanan niya sa loob ng classroom. Yung purpose ng pag-i-implement nyo na yon is for the students nga. Paano kung yung yung ayaw mag-open up na yon is yun yung target i-educate. So, do you think it would be useless lang yung pag-i-implement nito?
First of all, we're not forcing them to open up. It's not. Instead, we want to cater their needs, to assist them to figure out what they really feel. Kasi nowadays, ang daming nagsusuicide thinking na ito na lang yung way natin to escape these problems. But with this subject, matutulungan natin sila na mag-reach out, alamin kung itanggap yun sa sarili nila, and alamin na may hope pa.
But given the vast scope of mental health, it requires deeper understanding for students para ma-comprehend nila yung matter na yon. So, kung ayaw nila mag-open up and kung hindi sila nabibigyan ng attention sa loob ng classroom, then it's useless nga. Useless ang pag-i-implement ng mental health
It
subject.
won't be useless because there is a point na hindi naman talaga, we are not teaching students to be truly vocal. We are not telling them to stand up in front of the classroom and share your experience and share what the status of your mental health, emotional health, or whatever you might be feeling. We are not telling the students to come up in front and speak out. We are asking them to fully acknowledge what they are going through. So in that way, talagang ma-feel nila, talagang ma-feel nila yung emotions nila in a way na hindi sila magsisuicide, hindi sila gagawa ng bagay na dapat naman hindi talaga nilang ginagawa. And aside from that, ayun nga, just what I have said kanina, we are not telling the students to force themselves to voice out, to use their voice to speak out. We will offer activities that won't require vocals. It will require only the writing skills and all that.
Okay, sige. Habang umiinit yung discussion, no, mas naiintindihan natin yung opinion yung both sides, no, and you have both raised valid points with regards sa mga questions natin. Pero, doon ako sa part ng sinabi nyo kanina na you are not, the avenue of mental health subject is not for students to just speak up. Ngayon, pag-usapan natin yung isa naman sa mga malalaki ding concerns with regards to mental health subject in schools. Sinasabi nila na kapag itinuro ang mental health subject, magba-backfire daw ito. Kasi may risk ito na ma-sensationalize. Kumbaga, mas palalakihin, i-romanticize. So, it's just making up an excuse to not perform in school. That's an actual valid point na na-raise ng isa sa mga nagtatanong regarding this. And it creates daw an inaccurate and negative opinion sa mga estudyante about themselves. Ano sa tingin nyo ang magagawa ng mental health subject curriculum regarding this? Is it to actually romanticize or sensationalize? And how can we prevent that in the classroom?
Okay, so that is why there really is a need to address this issue to the youth and be added to the curriculum for them to figure out what they really feel. And of course, this will, as we said earlier, this will be handled by experts who knows how to deal with students who are experiencing mental health illnesses. So, do we really need to wait for the students to be open up? What if they're already thinking about ending up their lives? How can they be saved then?
As Francine said kanina, you are not going to force the students to open up. If you are not going to force them, how would you make them open up? Like you said, what if they're thinking to end their lives? You cannot approach them properly. And especially when you mentioned the experts, I said the practicing licensed psychologists are outnumbered from one out of 125,000 Filipinos. How are you gonna spread those little number of psychologists in around the country? Where are you first going to implement those psychologists? There are a lot of schools in the country, also those that have bigger funds. What about the public schools that have higher count of students than the public schools, but the public schools have a lower fund? So I'm guessing private schools can afford those experts better than the public schools, as they require a tuition and they have a bigger budget.
Okay, so that is why we need the help of the teachers. I'm not saying na yung mga professionals lang yung pupunta sa school to have a one-on-one sessions. No, we don't need that. Kaya nga, sinabi namin kanina na there can be seminars for the teachers.
But what if the teachers are unwilling to teach those students? O given their sa profession nila, marami na sila there are if we were to implement this and if they are the ones to teach this, then it would only increase their workloads and it would add stress. Imbes na matulungan ng mental health nila, mas madadagdagan pa ito.
Okay, so sige, habang nag-uusap kayo about your question about this topic. So again ang tanong natin, paano hindi maroromanticize or masasensationalize ito sa loob ng mga classrooms? Kasi again, ginagamit daw ang mental health as an excuse to underperform in classes. So yun yung tanong Pero syempre, dagdagan na natin ng katanong, baka mas may sagot kayo dito. Kung hindi maglalagay ng mental health subject sa curriculum, we're asking for a proposal. How can the school contribute in addressing the mental health concern of the students? Kung masasali naman kaya ito sa curriculum, do you think there is an adequate mental health service already provided in schools?
I think there is an alternative beside na sa pag-implement ng mental health subject sa curriculum by integrating mental health topics sa subject natin wherein sa MAPE, right? Meron tayo dun component na health. So I think it's much better if we integrate na lang natin yung mental health sa MAPE para hindi lamang mabigyang focus yung physical health natin but also our mental health well-being.
Yes, meron nga. Pero sa tingin mo ba nafofokusan natin yon? MAPE, health. Branch lang ng MAPE yung health. So ibig sabihin may iba pang components na pinagfofokusan ng subject. Minsan nga, di ba, yung mga health natin, since huli siya sa component, hindi na siya gano'n napagfofokusan. By this subject, or if ever man madadagdag siya, malaking tulong to para mapagfokusan natin yung mental health natin. Kasi nga, ito yung isa sa mga pinakamalaking problema natin. Para sa amin, oo, meron, pero hindi nga napagfokusan yung mental health natin talaga by that subject.
Well, I do agree with your point na hindi siya gano'n na-focus sa health, since health also covers our physical health, which is mainly doon nag-circulate yung MAPE or yung health component. But to the earlier question, I don't think we can avoid romanticizing this, as students will use it as an excuse to not do or perform in other subjects as well or participate. They can say that it would affect their mental health negatively. It could put their mental health at risk, or maybe they're just using it as an excuse, as there are a lot of students that are already failing with our current curriculum with 8 subjects. If we're gonna add another, won't that increase the count or the numbers of uninterested students, and won't the number of dropouts increase? And I think if we're going to integrate mental health into schools, I think this idea should be proposed by the teachers towards the parents, as I think parents should be the one that should address this matter to their kids, because all problems should be settled by their parents, by the parents to their kids, because everything should start from your own family.
Yes, it is true that it needs to start in your family. Pero sa tingin mo ba, yung mga parents ngayon is woke about yung topic na yan? Hindi ba yung generation nila, since dati hindi pa masyadong open yung tao sa gantong bagay, they really don't think na valid yung gantong reason natin para lang sa mga actions natin. So, do you really think na yung mga estudyante is mas gugustuhin nilang magsabi sa parents nila?
Do you think the students will be open to their classmates or teachers or the experts that
We are not fully saying na magiging open sila sa other people or their peers. We are not proving.
Pero kung hindi sila open sa parents nila, 'di ba, paano pa sila makakapag-open sa friends nila and sa classmates nila kung hindi na nga sila open sa parents nila?
Uulitin ko, hindi namin sila fino-force mag-open up. Instead, gusto namin i-cater or i-guide sila sa nararamdaman nila kasi hindi naman yun yung hindi naman yun yung nangyayari sa loob ng bahay. Sabi nga kanina, hindi natin o hindi mas napaprioritize. Minsan nga nasasabihan pa sila na madrama lang, di ba?
Yeah, pero paano mo makikater yung diverse needs ng bawat students when there are 26 billion students,
You are not
including
the
us?
one inside their shoes. So you shouldn't be the one to judge them kung ano magiging reaction nila sa gagawing curriculum na to. And we are telling you, we are pointing out that hindi nga namin pino-force yung students na mag-voice out to other people around them. We are trying to point out that students should be smart enough to acknowledge what they feel personally. Kung hindi nila kaya magsalitaan, kung hindi nila kaya mag-open up sa ibang tao, pwede sila mag-open up sa sarili nila. Pwede nilang isort yun sa sarili nila muna bago sila mag-voice out sa iba.
As I said, di na dapat aware ka or informed sa nararamdaman mo. It should be addressed by an expert. How are you going to handle 26 million students if you don't know what an expert is going through? Alam mo kung gaano karaming stress yung dinadanas sila. There are many patients as well that are not students. Meron din mga adults na nangangailangan ng help ng psychologists. How are you going to address all of the needs of the citizens kung magpo-focus lang kayo sa youth, marami din nangangailangan sa experts. You cannot address all 26 million.
That is why we need to address this issue to the youth. Kasi nga, sa dami ng youth ngayon, at alam naman natin na, di ba sinabi nga nila na ang kabataan ng pag-asa ng bayan. So, bakit hindi nyo muna simulan sa kabataan para ma-share nila sa ibang generation?
Paano mo maa-address yung ganong karami ng students, given that there is gaya nga na sinabi ni Francis, according to Enquirer.net, merong there is a ratio of one licensed practicing psychologist for every 125,000 Filipinos. So paano mo nga mabibigyan ng tuon yung iba't ibang problema na nararanasan ng mga student kung isa lang yung magiging professional sa loob ng classroom? Might as well mag-consult ka na lang directly sa psychiatrist or sa psychologist.
So, tingin mo ba kaya nilang mag-consult sa professional? Kung sabi ko nga, di ba kanina, hindi woke yung parents nila and yung elders about this topic. And sa tingin mo ba lahat ng estudyante is kayang mag-afford? Sabi nyo nga kanina, may issue about poverty. Since sinabi nyo yun, paano nila makakayanang pumunta sa professional if dun pa lang hindi na natin sila matutulungan?
That's your point, poverty, right? Where our country is going through poverty right now. If families cannot afford a session or a therapy to a psychologist, how do you think our country would fund implementing the curriculum into our education? Kung maliit pa lang yung gastos sa therapy, paano kaya kung millions ang gagastusin kung i-implement mo yung curriculum? Marami yung kailangan natin gastusin sa materials, sa teachers din, sa pag-seminar. You cannot compress 4 to 6 years of knowledge and experience in a few months.
Hindi naman natin sinabing, i-compress mo yung 4 to 6 years na knowledge nila. Hindi naman natin sinabing, yung mga estudyante na nasa high school ngayon, is tuturuan mo para maging psychologist agad.
Then
Hindi,
what are you implementing?
ang sinasabi namin is, tuturuan natin yung mga estudyante kung ano ba talaga yung ibig sabihin ng mental health at kung ano ba talaga ang nararamdaman nila bilang tao.
As I said, iba yung pagiging aware sa pag-address ng problem. If you're just aware and di mo kayang i-address yun, mas lalala yung problem mo and it can put your mental health at risk.
Alright, so maraming salamat sa ating mga debaters. Pero puputulin muna namin ang inyong diskusyon dahil natunghayan natin yung batuhan ng inyong mga magagandang punto. Siyempre, lalo na sa latter part, no? Feel na feel natin mas ramdam nyo yung mga tanong natin sa ating mga debaters. Kaya naman, Felicians, ano ang reactions nyo dyan? Is it a yes or no? Dapat bang i-include sa ang mental health subject sa ating mga eskwelahan? Mamaya naman malalaman natin ang tanong mula sa ating mga audiences. Kaya naman huwag kayong aalis at lahat ng yan ay sa pagbabalik lamang ng Schoolmates! Welcome back, Schoolmates! So, syempre, kanina no, natunghayan natin kung ano nga ba yung mga opinion ng bawat grupo, ng mga estudyante nating mga Felicians regarding sa mental health subject na dapat nga daw bang i-implement sa ating mga paaralan. Kaya naman, mas lalo natin papainitin ang ating talakayan dahil hindi magpapatalo ang ating mga audience mula syempre sa Francisco P. Felix Memorial National High School. Ayan. So, kanina, off-cam, no? So, kanina tinitignan na namin sino yung magtatanong. At may mga nag-volunteer tayo sa gitna. Proud ba ang inyong mga magulang na kayo ay magtatanong today? Okay. So, syempre, ready na sila. At kanina pa sila nagbubulungan kung ano ang itatanong nila. So, hit it with your question, Andreo. Andreo, ano ang iyong tanong sa ating mga debaters?
So, before the what ifs, let's be realistic. So, in our generation, where feelings are more and more getting validated, and students are showing their emotional burden, why do you think that school institutions are yet to mandate and implement the mental health subjects in our curriculum?
Okay.
Because with a deficient education system, we don't have enough resource and professionals to facilitate such a complex subject in our curriculum, and it would take a lot of time to produce more professionals, and it's more costly than ever.
Althea, ikaw ang mag-open ng next question natin. Ano ang iyong tanong sa ating mga debaters?
Okay, so habang nagbabatuhan kayo ng opinions, I heard a lot about parents. So, putting yourself inside the parent's shoe, would you want your child or children to engage in such activities or subjects that involves around mental health?
Okay, so if I'm a parent, of course I would want my kid to learn about this about the mental health, and I want this to be added to curriculum kasi it will only do good sa anak ko kung magiging healthy yung mental health niya, kasi if your mental health is healthy, your body is healthy, your life will be good.
But if parent din ako, oo, a-agree ako na mag-engage yung anak ko sa ganong activities, pero knowing na may risk sa pag i-implement ng subject na yun, mas pipiliin ko na lang na hindi na lang mag-engage yung anak ko kung ganun, kung may risk. Kasi may risk. Kasi uncertain kayo na kung yung magiging product ng pag-i-implement na yun is magiging beneficial sa lahat.
Alright. So I think, Althea, sana and Andreo nasagot ang inyong mga questions. But I'm sure you can all engage pa rin naman in a healthy discussion even after ng episode na ito. Kaya naman move on tayo sa last question natin. So, yes, proud ba ang mommy mo na ikaw ang magtatanong today? Okay. What is your name?
Rogin po.
Where are you from?
Kainta Rizal.
Alright. At ano ang iyong katanungan, Rogin?
So, my question po is mostly for the affirming side. And ang question ko sa kanila, since sa substitute natin yung mga psychologists or psychology professionals sa mga teachers, how can we assure na matuturuan nila ng maayos yung mga students knowing na mayroong mga teachers na may stigmatization or mayroong mga teachers na may stereotypes sa mental health issues?
Okay, so we are not substituting them sa yung professionals sa mga teachers. And for a fact, sinabi nga namin kanina, we mentioned earlier that this proposal, this curriculum will take a lot of time. So, in that adequate amount of time, sana naman the only thing that we can do is to hope for the best. if we really implement this curriculum, knowing that, ayun nga, just like what you've mentioned, may mga stigmatization yung mga teachers natin, knowing na may difference sa generation natin, we can say na this is still maaayos pa tong mga pag-iisip na to kapag may tao talagang, kapag may group of people talaga na mag-educate sa'yo about this matter and knowing na adult ka na, you will be more open into understanding what they are stating to you and what they are teaching you.
So again, Althea, Andrea, and Rogin, nasagot ba ng ating mga debaters ang inyong mga tanong? Is it a yes? Is it a no? Okay. So, syempre, I'm sure hindi lamang ang live audience natin ang may katanungan. So, ang ating mga netizens, patuloy lamang kayong mag-send ng inyong mga katanungan at mga komento sa @PTVPH at @Iskoolmates, both in Instagram and on Facebook. Kaya naman, siguraduhin nyo hindi kayo bumibitiw dahil ngayon naman, malalaman natin ang closing statements ng bawat grupo. Simulan natin sa grupo ni na Francine.
In conclusion, we firmly stand by the fact that we should add mental health subject to our curriculum because nowadays there are a lot of students experiencing depression and anxiety, and some are even committing suicide. In short, it is a crucial matter that we should face. Adding this to our curriculum fosters a more mentally healthier environment and a supportive school system. If we implement this or if we add this subject to our curriculum, it doesn't only help our as learners in this present time, but it also helps us to mold ourselves to be a more better future in the future.
Okay? So simulan naman natin sa ating next na grupo. Ano ang inyong closing statements?
So in conclusion, we stand by the fact that we can't really implement mental health subject in our curriculum properly as to many reasons like time constraints, deficient education system, and scarce resources. And we can't really rush on implementing such complex program as there are tendencies that it's not going to be consistent throughout the whole curriculum. And there are tendencies that mental health might worsen the student's condition because there are teachers who still uses an outdated method of teaching, and maybe for those who aren't open about mental health topic.
Maraming salamat sa pareho nating mga debaters na nagpamalas ng kanilang galing. Kaya naman, palakpakan natin guys, ang ating mga debaters. Pero syempre, hindi lang sila ang papalakpakan ninyo dahil bukod sa closing statements, tingnan nga natin ano ang natutunan ng isa sa ating mga live audiences mula sa ating episode. Punta sa harap ang ating audience reflection. What is your name?
Nicole po. So, first and foremost, I would like to congratulate both of the teams for giving their utmost best na ma-enlighten kami about this topic since it is very wide and complex. To be frank, I really like the topic for today's episode since it is really interesting, relevant, and timely. So, kung ako ang tatanungin, madami akong natutunan. And yung mga natutunan ko na yun is a great assistance for me to fully comprehend na madaming factors and things na kailangan nating i-consider before implementing the mental health classes. At the same time, I learned the real essence and the significance of prioritizing our mental health. And kung ako naman ang tatanungin, I approve the implementation of mental health classes since it will serve as an opportunity for the government to view as a chance para matulungan yung mga students na who's having a hard time and nakaka-experience ng mga struggles when it comes to their mental health issues and trends po. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Thank you kay Nicole. So proud ang kanyang mother today. Palakpakan naman natin siya. At ngayon na ang panahon para naman palakpakan natin dahil hindi magiging successful ang debate na to kung wala ang best speaker sa ating episode. So, sino sa tingin nyo ang best speaker sa episode na ito? Mga nasa harap lang ang involved. Kanya-kanya sila, no? Mixed signals. ang binibigay ng ating audience today. Ito na dahil sa kanyang pinamalas na husay at galing sa pagkikipagdebate at ang mga argumento at rebuttals na nagpabilib sa atin, ang best speaker sa ating episode ay si Francine May Canapi. Okay. So Francine, thank you so much sa iyong pinamalas na galing. And hopefully, no, lahat ng ating mga debaters ngayon, you gave your utmost best. So, let's all learn from each other. Okay, dahil nagbigay na kayo ng inyong mga reflections and katanungan, ako naman ang magre-reflect sa episode na ito. So, schoolmates, ang pinag-uusapan natin ngayon is not relatively a new topic. Mental health has been existent ever since, but it's only now na we've given a proper label to it. But first, before we implement anything, we have to understand the purpose of why we do it. What is mental health nga ba? Sa mga kabataan ba ngayon, alam nila kung anong ibig sabihin ng mental health? Is it simply just an emotion? Is it simply a condition? So, defining the label is one thing. Second is understanding what it means. Then third, if we understand what it means, identify what really is the problem. Is the problem not enough mental health services in schools? And who are the recipients of it? Is it just students? Can there be professionals also that can be guided by having this mental health subject in class? Estudyante nga lang ba ang magkakaroon ng benepisyo sa pag-aaral nito? Hindi ba ang mental health is a lifelong learning because it's learning how to manage your emotions, learning how to understand how to react to different situations, and how can you get it through, sort it out, and of course, address it accordingly. Hindi importante ang dami ng subjects. We should condense it to the fact na both students and teachers will find it manageable. Dapat mas paghandaan natin kung ano nga ba ang structure ng curriculum na ito. Kasi kapag in-implement natin siya ng hindi natin pinag-aaralan, marami ang maaring maapektuhan dahil hindi nga natin lubos na iintindihan kung ano ang problemang nais nating solusyonan. Okay? So, to the fact na ginagawang romanticized and sensational ang mental health, it should be. Because it's an important problem. But what we cannot allow is to be compromised in terms of our standards in the education system. Kung ang mga guro ay hindi well-equipped, paano magiging equipped ang mga estudyante? Kung hindi well-equipped ang mga paaralan para magbigay ng most basic type of education, how can we address the further concerns? Sabi nga nila sa Maslow's needs, hierarchy of needs, self-realization comes after addressing the most basic needs first. Kaya, schoolmates, dapat patuloy natin siyang pag-aralan. Patuloy natin usisain kung tama nga ba ito. But, most importantly, tulungan natin both parents and teachers to manage it both in their families and at home by addressing the most basic needs first. Bago tayo magtapos, gusto po namin pasalamatan ang buong Francisco P. Felix Memorial National High School. Siyempre, yung mga faculty members po natin at lahat ng mga estudyante natin na give ang energy. Siyempre, nakisaya at nakibahagi sa ating talakayan. Maraming salamat po sa mainit na pagtanggap. And with that, sa bawat usapin, sa bawat issue, may boses tayong mga kabataan. Kaya naman sumalit makinig at makiisa dahil opinion natin ay mahalaga. Kaya naman, makisabay tayo isigaw sa buong mundo. Schoolmates, may pakialam ka! Thank you!